That's right, everybody. It's time for yet another space update. Did you enjoy my little space update bumper there while I was making that one? This was an interview with a retired NASA food scientist. She worked at NASA for the entirety of the shuttle program, but she was in charge of overseeing all the food that the astronauts, would be eating on their missions to space. She talked about when the shuttle would launch, it would only be up in space for like a couple weeks, maybe usually just less than a week. And there were only like a handful, like half a dozen astronauts. So everyone could order their own individual food. They could request their favorites. And that was really important for people had different dietary restrictions or whatever. But then when it came to the ISS, the International Space Station, a new crew would be sent up every 6 months. And it was becoming so much of a hassle to plan out 6 months of individual food orders, both from her team's point of view, having to manage all that, and then for the astronauts to have to sit there and figure out what they're going to eat every day. So at that point, they changed it to just like, listen, we'll just throw a bunch of different food up there, and you guys just pick what you want, mix and match stuff. And so because of that, it became like a situation kind of like in the Army where they have MREs. Soldiers will like trade around different foods that they prefer or whatever. That's what happened up on the ISS. And with the Russians, the cosmonauts would have their own food from Russia. They would trade food between those astronauts and the cosmonauts. Another interesting thing is they can't use regular salt and pepper in space because it's grains of sand practically. And if that floats away, that'll get caught in the air conditioning unit, all that stuff. And it'll get people's eyes and all that stuff, everything like that. So salt and pepper, it's made into a fluid sauce. So instead of reaching for the salt shaker, the pepper shaker, you're reaching for like packets. I think it was like a ketchup dispenser looking thing you see at like a restaurant. You'd squeeze out some liquid salt and liquid pepper, and there you go. It's this gelatinous salt and pepper on your meal. Last thing I have here, when you're in microgravity for that long, like usually more than a few months, your nose gets very congested just because of the flow of mucus and everything. It gets all clogged up in there. It can't just flow down, and when you're congested, you tend to lose your sense of taste a lot. So these astronauts were finding that the food being sent to them tasted really bland up in space. They need something like, they need the fucking flavor blasted version of whatever they're preparing. So as a result, there were certain food items that were highly sought after because they packed a little more of a punch than the rest. One item in particular was the shrimp cocktail. I'm assuming it was like just a bag of shrimp cocktail, whatever you just drink out of or something. I don't know. It was so spicy that it would clear your sinuses and then you would taste everything. They were like so popular. They're still fine on every ISS resupply mission. There was one astronaut who requested shrimp cocktails for every meal when they were on the ISS.
Ideal's Astrobase and Colonel Macaulay's space helmet are the greatest way to play outer space.